Okay, so these are going to be the videos on searching. So we have done sorting. We're kind of going backwards. We've done sorting and we've looked at the insertion sort, the selection sort, the bubble sort, and the quick sort. So if you're unfamiliar with those, just go back and have a look at them. That makes this a little bit easier. So there's two searching algorithms on the Leaving Certificate curriculum. The first one is the linear search, and the second one is the binary search. So we're going to start today with the linear search. And as a linear search, as the word linear, you might be familiar with it from maths. It means that it iterates or moves through each item in the list one after the other in kind of a linear fashion. So it would look a little bit like this if I was diagramming it. So it would start here and it would just iterate through one after the other each item like this. So you're kind of familiar with that from the searching, or sorry, from the sorting. So the searching is similar. However, searching implies something else. When we say searching, what does that mean? Well, for me, that means we're looking for something. So we always have to know what we are looking for. So we're actually looking for something in this list if we're searching. So what we have to do is we have to have a key or a target item. So we are going to always have to have some kind of key or target item. In this case, I'm going to set my key equal to 17. It could be anything. It doesn't matter what it is that we're searching for. I know 17 is in the list. It's an easy one to pick because it's not at the very beginning or at the very end. So it's a nice one to do an example with. You'll sometimes see that being referred to as the target as well. So literally what is going to happen is you are going to choose the first item in the list. Let me go back to my colors that we're used to. So the current item is circled or squared in blue, and we are going to do a comparison between the first item and the key. And if the first item is not equal to the key, so I do not equal to like that, maybe you do not equal to like that in Python, but if it's not equal to the key, then it moves to the next item and it compares the next item to the key. If they're not equal to it, moves on to the next one, and so on until it gets to the point where it finds the item. And we're not finished then because when we find the item, so we will see that 17 is equal to the key of 17. And what we want to do is we want to say we found the item at what position. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 at position 4. So that's what we want to be able to say. So it's reasonably straightforward. We take our list, as you're familiar with a list. We have to set up a key, and then we start at the beginning of the list on the left-hand side. We choose our current item being checked. We're checking that particular item against the key. If they're equal to each other, then we want to find out what position that is in and print that out. So I want you to pause the video now and I want you to try and write the code for that. So genuinely pause it, don't just let it run because the next bit is going to show you the code. So pause it and try and write the code for that. You can use the sorting code that we used before as a sample. It's different to it, but similar because you're using lists as well. So if that helps, you can use that. So I just need to update my code here for a second. So hopefully you've gone and tried that and that you have some piece of code, your own code in front of you to compare against. I hope nobody's cheated on me and is just watching this video from beginning to end. But here is the code to do the linear search, or the first start of the code to do the linear search. So we have a list, same list we've been using all along. We've set our key equal to 17. Sorry, I got a bit enthusiastic with my spaces there. And then I said for index in the range of the length of my list. So remember, when we don't put in a 0, it defaults to 0, so 0 to the length of my list. And when we don't put in an increment value, it defaults to 1. So it's like having 0, comma, len my list, comma, 1. We can just put in len my list because 0 and 1 are the defaults. So for once the index is in that range, then if my list index, so where we're looking, is equal to, remember double equals is comparison, the key, then location is at that index. And then we just say the key is found at this location. So let's just take a quick run through that. And we can see down here that the key is found at location 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's correct because this is 17. We can play around with this and you probably should. So let's try if we set it to 24, found at 1, 0, 1, perfect, 50, found at location 7, perfect. So let's put it back to 17. So if you had differences in your code and this code, see if you can fix it. But more importantly, do you understand why I have this code and you have your code? The other thing that's really important for me to say is that if your code is different, but does what my code does, that is fine. There's more than one way to code any of these, and even these samples that I'm doing are just samples. There's plenty of different ways to code these. So if your code is doing what my code is doing, then brilliant, you're sorted, okay? Now I have a question for you. If I was to add in, and you saw it there at the beginning, another value that matched the key into my list, what would I expect to happen here in this code? Have a think about that. Maybe pause the video, write out what you think would expect to happen. Then come back and run this code. So you may have to create a new file and take down this code if your code is different and run it and we'll see what happens. So pause the video now and do that. Okay, so hopefully you've paused the video and come back. So we're going to run this piece of code. And what I'm getting is that the key is found at location 8, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's returning the value of the second instance of the key. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. We have found the value, but it hasn't returned the first instance of it. So I'd like you to think about that. This is a tricky class. I'm giving you loads to do. And what I want you to do is I want you to try and take this piece of code and I want you to update it so that it gives me out the first instance of the value 17 in the list. Have a go at that. Okay, because I am not sure what you have done, I'm going to explain what I have done, okay? And I'm not saying again that this is the only solution because there's always plenty of solutions. So I haven't changed my list, I haven't changed my key, and I haven't changed any code inside my for loop, and I haven't changed my print. The only thing I have changed is my for. So now what I'm saying is in my for loop that it's in the range of starting at the len my list minus 1. And what does that mean? Think about it. It means it's starting at the end of the list. It is going to minus 1. So it's going just past the end of the list. When it gets to minus 1, it's finished. We know 0 is the last one, so we need to go one more beyond that, minus 1. So it's starting at the end of the list. It's going to the very, very, very start of the list. And every iteration decreases the value in the range by 1. So we're basically moving backwards through the list this time. And what will happen is exactly what happened the last time, except because it's in reverse order. Let's just run it. Oh, I have it there. It's giving me my location at 4, which is the first instance of 17 in the list. It's a little bit of a hack, if I'm honest with you, but it is a simple solution to what sounded like quite a tricky problem. Okay, so now I have another problem for you. What if I changed my key to a value that's not in the list? So in this case, I've changed it to 117. When you run it, you get the following error. Its name, location is not defined. And my question to you, and write it out because we'll have time at the end of the class to go through this. What does that mean? What kind of error is that? Why am I getting that? In your own words, what's going on there? And can we look to try and fix that somehow in the code? Okay, so why did we get this error down here? The reason for this is that the if statement, so this part here, never evaluated to true. Therefore, location didn't even exist. It never did this line in here. So the variable location was never enacted or defined or set up in any way, shape or form. So in how do we fix this is the next question. Well, in lots of programming languages, when it doesn't find something in a list, it defaults to a value of -1 because -1 is outside the bounds of the array. Because the array list, sorry, I use array because I used to code in Java, C, and C++. Python is a newer language. So sorry, if I say array, think list outside the bounds of the list because the list will start at 0 and it will go up to whatever value is in it. So in this case, up to 8. So if we say -1, it's kind of an indication to a coder that this doesn't have a value in it. So with that hint, go pause the video and go and see if you can code a solution to this. Actually, I have another hint for you before I let you go. I think it would be easier to use a function as well. We looked at functions on Monday, yesterday in class. And when we looked at those functions in class yesterday, we passed a value in. So set up a function that takes in the list like we did in class yesterday, but add a comma and add in the key as well. I'm asking you to do a lot here that you haven't done before, so I understand if you don't get it right. So that's okay. Just try it and see how you get on. So take 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes to do that. Pause the video, then come back and I'll walk through the code. Okay, so don't look at this video if you haven't tried it yet. Don't start again unless you've actually tried this code. Yours might be different to mine, but that's okay. Again, you can pause the video and just take down this code. So what I have done here is I have the same list. I've set up a function called linear search. Don't worry about these, I'll talk about them in a minute. I have exactly what I had before for index and range length of my list. If the index or if the list value index is equal to the key, then return the index. I'm just returning the index because it's a function. Instead of setting a variable, I'm returning the index, okay? I'm also then, if it doesn't get into this, if it's not doing this, if they're not equal to each other, it returns 1. So once this return happens, it never gets to this one, so we don't have to worry about ifs and else's here. If it does this one, that's what's returned. If it doesn't get inside there, it will just return -1, so we will know that the value didn't exist. So this here takes in the list, and this takes in the key. So let's go down here. This is actually the call. Let me tidy this up. I was testing it with a few different values. So what I'm saying is call linear search, this here, pass in my list. My list is this list of values. So this list of values comes into this function under a pseudonym or a new name called listin. It's the exact same values. It's a list and has those values in it, and the name of it is listin. And key comes in as 17. So this value goes into the second value here, key. So when I come in here, key has a value of 17 and list in has these values in it here. That's the only thing. We're just passing one thing. We're just sending it from A to B. It's like posting a letter. And the only difference is that because we give it a name as in the parameter list here, this is the name we refer to this list as inside here. So now when I run it and I have 17, I'm going to run that. It says 4. You can see it over here. I hope you can see it. I've got something on my screen there, but hopefully you'll be able to see the 4 over here. And if I put in 117, which is a non-existing value, there we go. It says -1, comes out -1. So this actually handles a lot of stuff. It handles the fact that there's two values in it. It gets the first one. Once it finds an index, it returns or quits out of it. So it stops searching, it's found what it's looking for. So it returns the first instance of it. So we've looked at a few ways to solve this, but this is probably the most efficient way. So what I want you to do now is, because this is the end of this video, so there'll be no pausing and coming back. What I want you to do is I want you to create 2 of your own lists with any values you want in them. And I want you to run them through this searching algorithm. I also want you to write out any questions you have on this because I'll take them at the end of class.